Hello, everyone. It's Sunday morning, May 17th, and I was just looking through the news and I saw an article about Jeff Gordon, the race car driver, which reminded me of a little story I thought I'd share. But before I get started, I want to enjoy a sip of coffee from my Montreal coffee cup. It's actually Joanna's cup, and I'm having a cup of black coffee. I'm trying to stay away from sugar and dairy, but I bought this cup for Joanna in the Montreal airport on the way back from a trip to Montreal last year to visit my clients Vic and Vito. So let's get started. So the title of this video is Sticks and Stones, and I looked up sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And it is reported to have appeared in the Christian Recorder of March 1862, a publication of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, where it is presented as an old adage in this form: "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never break me." So let me tell you. So Jeff Gordon, um, I met in August of 1997, and so I want to explain this. I want to tell and explain what how that came about. Um, but just for those of you who don't know, Jeff Gordon is an American former professional stock car racing driver. I'm reading from Wikipedia. Currently an announcer for Fox NASCAR and a top executive for Hendrick Motorsports. He formerly drove the number 24 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports in 23 full-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series seasons between 1993 and 2015, and served as a substitute driver for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 88 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet in select races during the 2016 season. So, professional race car driver. Um, Met him in 1997. Here's a picture of him. You can see what he looks like. Here's a spreadsheet where I was doing a little bit of math. Let me show you what this math is about. Hold on a sec. Make it a little bigger. Hold on just a sec. Okay, so here's today's date. I put in his birth date. I put in my birth date. So this is Jeff. So Jeff was born in 1971. Today is May 17th. If you subtract these two, you get 17,000 days. If you divide it by 365 days in a year, and a lot of people think there's 365 days in the year, but there's actually 365.25 days in a year. And you get he's currently 48.8 years old. And same with me. Did the math. I'm 55.7. And then over here, this is when I met Jeff in August of 1997. You do the math again. It's this many days between his birth date and August 15th of 97. That many days, that many years. So that basically, this helps me to identify. At the time I met him, I was 33 and he was 26 years old. Now I'm going to go to a map of Colorado. I was living in Colorado at the time, this little town called Lake City, in the middle of the Rockies, way up in the Rockies. And one night I was hanging out with my friends at there was a little bar in town. It was called Hole in the Wall. And let me see if I can find it. Just a sec. let's see. Yeah, so it's in this building. This is an old building right here from the 1880s, and I go to Street View. Oh, before I do, so underneath this building is a basement with stairs on the outside that go down into the basement, and there's a guy. I can't remember his name. He basically he converted it to a bar, and I'll go to Street View and show you the building. So that's the building, and right behind these cars, there's a stairwell right next to the sidewalk that goes down and into the bar. And it was a popular bar, and I'd go play pool and hang out with my buddies there. But beautiful little Colorado town, right across the street from this little park. This is like the downtown strip here with the bank and the post office and all that kind of stuff. And so that's where the location of this little where I met him. And so basically, what I want to tell you about, I was hanging out. I was living there, working there, and I was hanging out with my buddies after a long day at work, and we were just having drinks and hanging out. And at a table nearby, there was a group of about 6 guys drinking and getting a little loud and getting a little rowdy. And I think 2 or 3 in my group were girls, cute girls, local girls, and about me and 2 or 3 other guys. And the guys from out of town started to try to hit on the girls, and the girls kind of didn't just kind of ignored them, and they got a little bit louder, a little bit more rowdy, and then they started getting rude and saying rude things. And the guys in my party said, "Hey, let's take it outside." and so the guys in their party said, "Oh yeah, we're going to take you on. We're going to beat the snot out of you." So their group of like 6 or 7, and our group of 6 or 7 left the bar, went upstairs. I followed them out. I was like, I've never gotten into fights. I didn't want to get into fights. I just followed them up to see if there was anything I could do to keep them from fighting. And so I remember noticing there was a guy in their group that was kind of like me, holding back, and I could tell he wasn't happy about this situation. And everybody else in this party were like, "Let's go, let's go." They were just all angry and and so they were insulting, and my group was insulting back and trying to escalate to just get into a full-on scrap with these guys. And so I looked at this guy and I said, "Hey," because he was like in the enemy camp, but I looked at him. I knew he was not happy about it, and I said, "Hey, you don't really want this happening, do you?" And he said, "No, no." And I said, "Come on." I said, "Will you help? Will you help to try to keep this from happening?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, I'll do my part. I'll do my part. You do your part. Let's see if we can keep this from turning into a fight. There's no reason for us to get hurt. You guys are from out of town on vacation, I'm sure, and you guys want to have a good time." And he said, "Yeah, yeah." So it was interesting. So this guy and I we're just going out and kind of getting in the middle of everything and saying, "Hey guys, let's knock this off and go back and have a good time." And so that guy, that was Jeff Gordon. So Jeff Gordon was on his side, helping to keep things from escalating, and I was on my side helping to keep things from escalating. And we were successful, and we got everybody to stop, even though they kept like throwing these last little words, and everybody wanted to have the last little insult. And it was that typical thing where everything gets de-escalated and you think it's fine, and then one of the people from one of the sides says something, and then the other one says something, and then we're back at each other's faces. It was just so silly and stupid. But yeah, that was my experience, and so and that was Jeff Gordon, and it was just kind of interesting that a guy that was kind of a famous race car driver at the time, because that was 1997, and I think he had become famous around 94, 95, 96. So that's my story for the day. I'll have one more sip of my delicious black coffee from my favorite Montreal cup, and then I'll call it a wrap. All right, guys, take care.